Hey, welcome to the program. Thanks for tuning in. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. 651-775-9194 is the hotline to call. The lovely and talented Sheila. She'll get you pointed in the right direction, get you going down the right path. And we are speaking life into the four pillars of a healthy home: your house, your ecosystem, your body, your mind, soul, and spirit. And that's what we kind of chat about here. What do you got going? You've got a couple of different programs going on, Sheila. You've got your Muffin Top Meltdown going on, and then you've got the 14 day. Should be 15, but you can get her done in 14. Okay. The 14-day restart. What is that all about?
Okay, so it's part that I also put into the Muffin Top, but everybody likes the magic pill and the quick results and like all the things, right? So if we start with the 14-day reset first, we're going to get you some really great results, really. And then, we're going to dive deeper into what it is that we need to dive deeper into depending on what that is for you. Okay. So I'm going to share, I'll get to that. I'm going to share some information on that.
Okay.
I've got a ton of testimonials, right? Because isn't that what you want to hear?
You want to hear if it's working.
Yeah. But before we get to that, of course, I got my notes again today because, I got to stay on track and stay focused. So
are you going to go down a rabbit hole now?
No, I've got it all. Because
before we roll, I acknowledge that Dr. Matt's on the show. He's going to. We're going to be here quarterly, or how is that? Just
however way you want me.
Dr. Matt, just as a background, is a chiropractor, but one of the most highly educated chiropractors on the globe, actually. One of like 100 or something. Is that right?
Something but diploma in chiropractic philosophy, and there's about 100 or so. So it emphasizes the whole why.
Okay.
Why do you even take a step forward, or whatever action you're going to do? So I try to spend most of my time in that beginning step.
Good. So we're going to have a chat with you. I'm going to talk when we come back after, that's probably next segment, legs. I want to talk about legs. I'm just going to go.
Valentine's Day.
Start thinking.
I think there's a song about legs.
Yep. Yeah, I think there is too. Play it at my funeral.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So did you know that cancer, depression, and heart disease may all have one underlying cause? Now, you can't answer it because I know you're going to know the answer already, so you don't get to answer.
One underlying cause. What? Okay. Say it again. Cancer.
Did you know that cancer, depression, and heart disease may all have one underlying cause?
Well, you blame sugar on everything on sugar, so I'm going to say it's sugar. Is it sugar?
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to that. Okay. Even worse, though, the same underlying causes can also cause Alzheimer's, strokes, type 2 diabetes, and other terminal diseases and illness.
Okay.
So 50% of all deaths worldwide can be tracked back to this underlying cause.
Really?
Yes. Ding, 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 if anybody,
obesity.
Text it to me, right?
No.
So I'm talking about chronic inflammation, right?
Dr.
Albert already knew that, which is fair.
So you two have to explain that to me, because I hear chronic, they're saying, oh, you've got inflammation. Now look at them, they're skinny as a rail. It's like, well, what's inflamed? Because I don't see any inflammation there.
Do you want to take that one and I'll come back to my...
Well, weight is just one component of that. And you can have subclinical inflammation where you don't actually feel it, but it's still going on anyway.
Okay, so give me an example of that.
Explain
that. Subclinical
to
means you can't relate to it. You could have precursors to diabetes. You could have all kinds of subclinical findings going on that are objectively there. They can measure your cholesterol through the roof, but you could feel great. And inflammation can do the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Does that answer your
question? So inflammation isn't like when I think of inflammation, I think of swelling. So I think of things are swelling up. So when I think of things that are swelling up, then they must be getting bigger. Well, then when I look at someone who isn't bigger or getting bigger, it's like, well, there can't be any swelling there, i.e., there can't be any inflammation.
One of the 5 signs of inflammation is swelling. There's redness, there's pain, there's loss of function. But swelling is one of the signs of inflammation. But what's interesting, metabolically...
But can you have inflammation, get to causality? Can you have inflammation without swelling?
Good question. What you learn in doctor school is that there are 5 cardinal signs of inflammation.
Okay.
First of all, the reason why your body swells anyway, and swelling gets a bad name.
Yeah.
But your body's swelling because it's trying to effuse the area with healing.
Remember, we're in Valentine's Day week, so Let's not condemn swelling. Okay. All right.
You have to deal with this all the time?
I do have to deal with this all the time. It goes in one ear and out the other. Yep.
Yeah, so the swelling actually allows healing elements to get in there, white blood cells in different areas that are trying to repair. And the new evidence shows now that when people put ice on something to reduce the swelling, it actually can impede the healing process, even though it's a conservative way to feel good for the moment. In fact, the original doctor who came up with rest ice compression elevation, Gabe Gherkin, I believe his name is. He's considered like the godfather of sports medicine back in the 70s. He's been on this whole thing for about 15 or 20 years now, trying to get therapists to use less ice because all the research over the decades are actually showing that ice actually impedes. So full circle, the swelling is actually good when you have it. And I would take it a step further because we can get this common thread of inflammation, but the problem isn't the swelling or isn't the inflammation itself, much less the swelling. It's the cause of the inflammation.
Right.
So
it's the cause.
it's like a mirror. So if you put something you don't like in front of the mirror, society sees the reflection and then they want to break the mirror because they don't like the reflection. And all the bodies do is reflecting back to it. You put a ho-ho in and you get inflammation back. That's an intelligent body trying to keep you alive until you put something better than a ho-ho in you.
Okay.
So
that's a very good analogy and a very good explanation for it because you're exactly right. Inflammation is the body's reaction to some external cause.
So here's the why again. Why do you have the inflammation?
Right.
Because medicine even gets into trouble when they hand you an anti-inflammatory. Because again, no free lunches, no
They're
free
trying
drugs.
to get rid of the symptom.
Yes, or or just the inflammation that's tied to it. But if you go higher up that food chain, you're still going to go, the body doesn't inflame because it's bored. It takes more energy to swell. It takes more energy to have inflammation. And so it's just trying to really keep you alive and give you a chance to do something better further down the road. And if you're stuck in that chronic state of inflammation, it just means you're doing the same thing. You're not changing.
Yeah, over and over.
It's the definition of insanity in the body.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of. I'm thinking now of what's the therapy for your knees where they inject an irritant into the knees?
The ozone?
No, into the knees, and it avoids like having knee surgery and stuff like that.
Stem cells?
No, it's really bad. You're not supposed to stay on it for longer than 8 days. It takes care of your injuries.
I'm not sure. They get very creative.
Okay. So anyhow.
Anyway, I know what you're talking about.
But what that does is it signals your body to send blood cells and send stuff to that area because there's damage going on, and it's a mild irritant into that thing. And there's medical doctors that practice that form of therapy. You wanted to do it to your back.
Oh, prolotherapy.
Prolotherapy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Now I'm the one that went down a rabbit hole.
So the chronic inflammation tears your body apart inside and out. Right?
Yes.
Yes, it does. It can degrade your skin, zap your energy, and contribute to chronic pain, which you had mentioned, pain and whatnot. When people are in pain and they come to you, do you, I'm assuming you know the difference between pain from I fell down the stairs and pain from inflammation or fill in the blank?
Well, not necessarily, because ultimately to a doctor, quite honestly, you only experience pain in your brain. Brain is an interpretation of a signal. Some people are psychosomatic. Where's the cause of that pain, right? So the pain is just your body, your experience to a symptom.
Boy, did you open me up for one. I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it.
So ultimately, it doesn't matter. We go through a checklist anyway. What are you designed for? You're designed to have your body communicate internally and with the external environment. That's how I get involved with as a chiropractor, to get people cleared and have them functioning at their best. And then we go, well, what is that environment that they're in? And that allows them to adapt the way they're supposed to. So that checklist is just to go through those things regardless of how they feel. Because here are the extremes of our experience, whether we like it or not, pain or not. If somebody steps on your foot and you don't feel it, that's actually a medical condition called numbness. And that person has a better experience than somebody who has something dropped on their foot and their nervous system's working properly, which should transmit pain at the right time and place.
Right.
So we're not really, pain relief is way overrated.
Okay.
All right. Before we're going to
Overrated.
Phone number and contact quick. If someone's listening, they want to get a hold of you.
952-250-6884.
Okay. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. Sheila chastised me during the break for not letting her go through her stuff that she wanted to talk about. So before
I actually prepared today.
all right. Well, that's a shock.
I know.
So
I did
before we
prepare
get
last
on
week.
with Dr. Matt and talk about legs,
Yeah.
we're going to let Sheila roll a little bit here. Go.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep going with, the inflammation thing.
All right.
So, all right, this is a guessing game. Scientists today are estimating how many Americans have some form of inflammation. We're going to let Keith answer first, and then you probably
How
get that
many
answer.
Americans? How many Americans?
How many Americans have some form of inflammation?
Oh, I'd say it's virtually 100%. It's got to be 90%.
Okay, well, they're saying 60.
Oh, I would have it higher than that.
See, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got 80% of adults are obese.
Well, that was where I was going was, we talked about the obesity thing last week, and with that, to me, that number didn't seem right. So,
They might be drawing a line, too, at a certain level where they go, we think this is significant versus residual kind of thing.
Yeah.
oh, sure. Okay, so, Debbie Downer here, we're talking about inflation, but it doesn't have to mean that you have to go to the doctor, you have to get on prescription pills. Like, there is a way to reduce that inflammation on your own with the support of somebody else without having to have another pill, because I think everybody's just like at
Pill
the
me out.
limit where
Yeah.
they're like pilled out, right? And so that's where I wanted to lead into the 14-day reset, right? Because that has been going into the testimonials and the past couple of resets, people sharing their stories. After each reset each month, there's a phone call and you can come on Zoom and people just share their testimonials.
Okay, so describe for the people who just tuned in.
Okay.
What is this reset
The
you're talking
14-day
about?
reset is 14 days of doing pretty simple things,
Okay.
right? So the first one is drink half your body weight in ounces of water.
Okay.
Okay. But that's clean water. That's not
Yeah.
tap water. Okay,
Right.
let's get that out of the way,
Right.
right? Move your body 30 minutes a day. Sitting's the new smoking, right? We just don't move. It doesn't have to be anything
Dramatic.
crazy, right? And then you pick your food plan. Paleo, keto, or Whole30. Pick that. Then you have a certain amount of the Ningxia Red juice, which is very high in antioxidants, and it's so nutrient dense that it just floods the body with the nutrients that most people aren't getting because they're eating fast foods and all the bad foods and the processed foods and all the things, right? So you have a certain amount of that every day along with those other things.
And the
that-
Ningxia is made from the wolfberry from the Ningxia province, a mountainous area that is
it's a blue zone
very
area
unique.
where
Blue
they
zone.
live to be, right,
Okay.
old with
Old.
less cancers. Now, they've been working on this 14-day reset for over a year and a half. So they've had a group of people that have been involved in this to get the science and the research and the testimonials and the results. And the call that I was on this last week, 2 people came on and spoke that they were able to, 1, reduce their thyroid medication, and 1, get off of it altogether. But the main contribution for everybody has been how much inflammation they have lost.
How did they know that?
Well,
When you
it's-
say I've lost inflammation.
it
how do you
doesn't
know?
necessarily show on the scale, right? It shows your rings are fitting better.
Okay.
Your stuff isn't as snug and as tight as it used to be.
Okay.
But the scale could not
Moved.
changed,
Right.
right? But you lose inches and that inflammation reduce pain. Okay, so
Two things on the inflammation. People can do a simple thing. If you flail your fingers out or your toes, you should be able to see your tendons. If you can't, you probably have inflammation. The other thing you can do is if you make a fist and open your fingers up, if it changes from red to white, you most likely have inflammation.
If what changes from?
If
I'm doing
the
it
skin
right
goes from red to white. If it stays the same,
it's the same.
then you're not going to have inflammation.
now. Yeah. See,
I'm
I
on my
drink-
second reset.
It's
so-
just because I drink.
I feel
I've
pretty
learned
good.
that if you drink enough coffee, you don't have inflammation.
Oh, we're not even going to go down there. All right, so there's some results that I wanted to share. Now, it's only as good as the amount of people that put in and share their results and do the survey
Sure.
and all the things, right? So, in a total of 368 people, I mean, there was way more that did this, but
There's 368 responders.
right,
Okay.
total of 368 people that did the survey before and after, and shared their weight. Okay, so of those that took the survey, their weight, released. There's I'm going to believe you're a man of like words, but besides that, the words that you choose, right? Not lose weight, because if you say you want to lose weight, our mental mind says, well, it's something we've lost, so we have to go find it, right? Like that whole analogy thing.
Oh.
So they're speaking in terms of released. That's why they say released, right? Because it helps the mental mind.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so total weight released was 1,552 pounds. Okay, 186 shared their measurements.
How much weight?
1,552 pounds. 186 shared their measurements, and they got rid of 1,092 total inches.
Wow.
Okay.
Right. And that says how many people?
368.
Okay.
So could you imagine if all the people that did the 14-day reset put their numbers in, what that would look like, right? That would be amazing. Now, we're doing these resets every month, the second Monday of every month. You can start it at any time, right? But the Facebook groups and the support and all we have, that's just when it starts. So some results I wanted to share is the things that people improved on. So people's energy improved, their physical comfort or lack of pain, their mood, their body image, joint mobility, skin appearance, immune system function, mental acuity, digestion, quality of sleep, overall wellness, and ability to handle stress. Now, all of those numbers were better for people. So the average, I already gave you those totals, but some of the testimonials. So if you are that type of person that wants to see and read a lot of the testimonials first because you don't believe it, you can go to the Facebook group, and it's 14-day reset sneak peek. So that's only for people that want to know and see the testimonials, and then you reach back out to me because you're going to be excited about it, and then we'll get you what you need, the workbook, get you into those Facebook groups, and get you your NICSHA read that you're going to need. So one of them was I lost inches and 4.7 pounds. She says she got rid of inflammation and slept much better. She had no brain fog. The biggest thing for me is that I didn't use any of my emotional support oils at all. So January was the hardest month for her. She always dreads it, apparently. And so she's thrilled with her overall experience. And let's see, Ginny, falling asleep and staying asleep, a bigger desire to tackle challenges and complete them, and enjoying her exercising. Now, we love to be busy. And I mentioned this about a couple weeks ago. Is like, oh, geez, doing the Whole30, that means like I have to cook. Like I have to go shopping, I have to clean the vegetables, I have to chop, and then I have to cook. And that's just, it feels like a lot, okay? And Keith pointed out to me, take the time and enjoy that. Like take that hour that it's going to take you to do that, cook it, eat it, and enjoy it. Get away from the computer. Get away and try to look at it as
lifestyle.
Yeah, just a happy thing, and not like dreading it, because and let's face it, you can go online and you can Google any kind of Whole30, paleo, whatever recipe you want. So you can't really say.
And they're pretty simple. I mean, it's not like you're.
Yeah, right. They are, but still, you can't say I can't make anything, because you just go to Google and you'll have more than you can. Let's see. Katie says, I can't believe how much the reset improved my life. I feel better and healthier. The best part is that the changes I made are ones I can continue to do. They aren't so much that I'm walking away from them at the end of the reset. She's already ready and set to go for February.
Well, of course, because this is not a one and done type of a thing. I mean,
Right.
The whole point of a reset is to reset, and that is to reset your mindset as much as anything. So you can't go 14 days on this thing, lose on average based on your numbers 4.2 pounds and 2.96 inches, and then at the end of 14 days kind of, okay, give me that bag of Fritos and let's go.
Right, back to norm.
Right,
Because
right.
anybody can do anything for 14 days.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. We will be right back after these very important messages. Thanks for staying with us. Welcome back to the program. We're in the studio with Dr. Matt Alvord, and we are talking about, well, Sheila was rambling on about her programs that she's got doing, and she's given some testimonials, pretty good testimonials. The 14-day reset. What's the magic of 14 days? Why 14 days? Why not 30 days or 28 days? Which a lot of 28-day things out there for in recovery.
Well, people think in whole numbers anyway. So 2 weeks is good. A month is good.
Oh.
People hold on to that versus saying 17 days, right? But the way the body works, you have an initial response to the immune system that's in the first 2 to 3 days. But the secondary immune system is affected out a week and a half to 2 weeks. So the powerful thing about 2 weeks is that you definitely get past that first week and a half where the secondary immune system, the alarms might still be on from the ongoing momentum of what you've been doing, and they may not come off if you're only on it for a week. And so you need 2 weeks or more to really get that system to start giving you feedback that things are changing positively.
So is it almost like you're getting the first 4 or 5 days, you're getting past the cravings of things?
That's part of it, but the reason why that immune system is still on, because it's still trying to heal the damage of what you've been doing before that.
Mm-hmm.
The fire trucks are still at the house, even though the fire happened a week ago.
Right. Still pouring water on the smoldering smoke. All right, what else you got, Sheila?
So, with that and the 14 days is anybody can do the 14 days, just when we went out to break, right? It isn't a 14-day thing that you're going to do once. Right? It's to keep going. And there's people that are they're just continuing to go with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they love how they feel. Listen, you can't. I mean, you could get too much things read, but really, I mean, you
pretty
can't.
tough.
Pretty tough.
And
right?
if you're doing them back to back, the first few days of you take a lot of Nixia.
Yes.
But then you ramp off it.
Right.
So if you're going to continue on, you would probably just continue on with that lower amount.
Right. And then when you come back to that next 14-day, you join back in on ramping it up again.
Oh, you do ramp it up again. Okay.
Yes. Right. So you have basically 2 weeks to I'm not going to say go off of it, right? But
do they recommend that you take a break, or do they, or can you just do it back to back?
They do recommend that you stay with it, right? Because you've got, what is a habit? Is a habit built in 30
28
days?
That's a 30-day deal. Anything you can break anything in 30 days.
There's variation.
Smoking, whatever it is, right? So especially with your first one, if you can, once you've done it for the 14 days, you feel so great you don't want to stop, right?
Uh-huh.
But if we can keep you going for that first 30 days, we're breaking some of those bad habits, right? Or if you go off on those 2 weeks, and we're going to go back to the ho-ho analogy, maybe you have a ho-ho, right, on those 2 weeks that you're off versus the whole box in 1 week or 1 box a week that you would normally have had. So we're learning and teaching, and food will taste better, right? It's going to take you a little bit of time to figure out, what your taste buds are and what recipes you love, but it gets pretty easy fairly quickly. Honestly.
What I'm surprised at with this whole thing is that there are so many different food plan options. So it isn't like you've got to eat this. And,
Right.
if you don't eat this, then it won't work. You can choose
Right.
how it is that I'm a meat guy.
Right.
So if I want to be carnivore or be, was it paleo?
Paleo, Whole30, or keto.
Okay, or
and
keto
I'm not
or
much of a
something
dairy person.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Whole30 because dairy really isn't like suggested on the Whole30. So you're right. It isn't. Most all of them are right. Let's just take away the sugar.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, it kind of boils down to it. But the other thing I like to point out to people is that anything is possible. And I'm going to come back to what you were saying on break about, them thinking that this isn't for them.
Yeah, because so many people can't even hear anything else because they feel like they've failed so much they don't think anything's possible for them in the future. So they just need to know that it's possible for them. And then they can start to build these little victories when they start going in that direction again. Part of what happens, so many people don't come to me, for example, until they've been to everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And they're tapped out. When we hand them their intake form, it says, how do you feel from 1 to 10? Right? How would you rate your health from 1 to 10? And then the second one we do is, how would you rate your potential? Because built into that question is, do they think they can get better?
Okay.
So if somebody thinks they're a 4, but they think their potential is a 6, this is somebody who's tapped out physically, emotionally, expectation-wise. They just don't think they can get much better. There's a glass ceiling for them just because they've just have this whole memory and history of failing. So they just need to know that something's possible for them, first of all.
Okay, so on that 1 to 10, what's the average number people put on your form?
I would say 5 or 6, something like that.
Okay, and then what's on the other side of that?
Do they
that
think
question?
they can get a 10? Do they think they can be a 10? Or?
It's usually around. Well, it really there's a big range there.
Yeah,
it really
I
is a
suppose.
big range, but very few people will put a 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because this
Because
society,
they've gone, like you said, to other places and have not succeeded in that.
the longer we have something, the harder it is to imagine something going away.
And some people might just straight have something structurally wrong, where they'll never be a 10.
Oh,
Let's say
I'm going
you
to let
take-
you answer that one.
Say that again?
Well, some people might just have something structurally wrong with their spine or with the body structure, an injury or something like that. They're just never going to be a 10.
It could be, but ironically, that's the vast minority of the time. And what's actually pushing that pain syndrome is inflammation, not necessarily a defect in, let's say, a body part. I hate to make Sheila's right, but she's absolutely right. So.
Yes. Can you say that again?
Yeah, say it twice.
So back to that it's possible, right? It's totally possible. And, okay, just go to my Sheila Hittner Facebook page, whatever. I posted this a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to have you just hold it up there. I don't show it to boast, right? I show it to let everybody know, those people that think that that they just can't do it, that it's not for them. And I always say, bless his heart for loving me and meeting me at 180 pounds, right? And so just hold that up there.
I don't know if they'll be able to see that.
Sure,
or not, but
you'll get it.
check
on.
it out. Oh yeah, you can see it pretty good.
So I say that because and I show that because anything is possible, right? It's how bad do you want it? There's so many things that people have tried, okay? And, like you said, they come to you. So with that, this is my thought now.
Okay.
I remember when every word that a doctor with a white coat said,
Mm-hmm.
I took with 100%, right? And I really always thought that was the authority. That's what I knew.
And that's why Dr. Matt has a whole closet full of white coats.
Yes. And now I don't have anything against doctors. I really don't, right? They have a time and place, and we need them. And they most of the time they know their specific craft about what it is that they do, which is great because we need that when that specific thing comes up, right? But I look back and I think I never had a doctor ever talk to me about food, nutrition, lifestyle, or exercise. Never.
I had talked to somebody the other day, and I said, if you want to know what your doctor really thinks, find out who pays them.
Yes.
So they don't have a grocery store at the hospital.
Right.
They don't have. Where's the incentivized system? You know, if you've got a great doctor who's going to have a side conversation with you, they're now officially off the clock. They're not making a dime for every minute they're spending telling you all this valuable stuff to empower you to change and get to the root cause of why you're there to begin with.
And that's exactly it, right? And they don't have the time, right? They're on the clock. We got to get through this.
Every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes.
Yep. And nowadays, you know, with the internet, people get all sorts of information. You know, thousands of health experts, you know, e-guides, books, podcasts. You know, there's so much out there.
And you don't know what's snake oil and what is funded by big pharma.
Exactly.
That's true too.
Yep. So the question really boils down to who do you trust, right? I mean, like, let's face it. So my thought is, you know, you've also what's safe to try, right? Because you got, what is QVC or like whatever those things are that are out there, buy this product, buy this. You don't know where it came from. You don't know what's in it. You don't know how the fillers and whatnot, right? So misinformation is rampant. I want to come back to that and
Welcome back to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, where we study the 4 pillars of a healthy home. You can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts with you, and it starts right now. Misinformation is rampant.
It is. Everybody's trying to find a solution in a bottle. Everybody's trying to sell you a solution in a bottle. But, I mean, we really are here to help. I mean, I think, you know, most people know me, right? And so I can give you whatever you need. I can give you the science. I can give you testimonials. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you, right? And there's a massive, you're going to have something to say about this, Dr. Albert, I know it. There's a massive difference between knowing something and then actually doing it.
And believing it.
Right? So we all know the importance of health, diet, maybe not even diet, just let's say good food, right? And you still have the bag of Cheetos. I'm picking on you with the Cheetos, but you still have the bag of Cheetos and the Diet Coke, which some of you know I was hospitalized for aspartame from Diet Coke, so it's a real thing. So you still have that for lunch, and I'm not judging. I'm just pointing out a fact that we know those things are bad, but we just go and turn around and have it for lunch or whatever. So my point is that you can know a lot and you can still fail to implement.
One thing I try to do with people is get them to realize they are literally addicted to their lifestyle. And I will specifically use that word and not mince words because
addicted to their lifestyle, that's what you'll say.
Addiction means you cannot stop it.
Right.
And even though it's bad for you, regardless of how you know you should do it, if they don't change and they continue down that road, it's a suicidal direction they're heading in, let's be honest. It is an addiction. And so anything less than that is too much of a euphemism. It's going to cost their life. I tell people you have to handle your lifestyle changes as if it's life and death because it actually is. And let's say you're doing something that may not result in disease until 11 years from now, but it is life and death today because you're headed towards the Grand Canyon. Even though you might be a state away, you are headed there. You will go over the Grand Canyon. So when are we going to identify that situation?
You remind me of my trainer that I had when we got hooked up with a trainer. In my first meeting with the trainer, he comes up.
They were testing you. Were you going to say that?
Well, I don't know. I was telling a story.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going not like
interrupted
you were
my
say.
flow.
Okay. All right.
So he comes out with a tape measure and he's measuring me. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm measuring you for your coffin," because
powerful.
Really? Because he stuck that thing in his belly button to measure the fat, you know? And he came back and he's like, "Wow, I'm getting ready to measure you for the coffin." And that was a little bit.
That was an attention getter.
Yeah, extreme words for an extreme situation.
Yeah.
If as soon as we back it down, we'll talk ourselves out of it.
Yep.
And I gotta believe, like most whoever you're seeing, fill in the blank. Naturopath, doctor, chiropractor, it doesn't matter. Whoever, fill in the blank. I got to believe that most of them take the softer approach.
Life is short. And again, people do have different, and there are different personalities, right?
Yes,
you got the
right,
disc stuff.
right,
You're gonna handle
right.
the aggressive people.
Right.
Hey, time is short, and you got somebody else who's amiable, and you
You'd
really
crush them
do-
with that.
Yeah, you do. You do have, but at the same time, you can be pressing with somebody who's amiable, and do it in that amiable way. But you're not going to let off on the gas, but just in whatever they can handle.
Well, I came back because people don't realize how hard I've worked on this. Because I came out of college, I weighed 168 pounds. And over the course of 40 years, I mean, I've worked very hard. I've gotten myself up to 195. That's a lot of Cheetos.
Yeah, hardly.
Force feeding the Cheetos.
Right.
Force feeding the Cheetos.
I mean, I think most of you know that he's kidding.
Right.
But anyway, I think that we fail to implement it because we're also overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People are overwhelmed, I think, very easily. They don't know where to start. They think it's so hard to start. So
that comes back to the misinformation.
Yeah.
We're going to a conference in next month in Florida.
And you're going
in
for a
Palm
week?
Beach. We're going just for a weekend thing. It's a conference. It's actually a learning thing. They got like 20 doctors there. And the whole premise of the thing is you've got both ends of the spectrum. So you've got snake oil salesmen on one end, and you got Harvard graduates on the other who think they know everything. And the Harvard graduates, their research is funded by Big Pharma, and so they're spewing out whatever Big Pharma says because they want to keep their research grants in place because that's what's making the payment on their Porsche. And then you've got the snake oil salesman over here selling, vegetable oil online and calling it's going to cure everything. So their whole point is there's a middle road here where these two extremes meet. And then there's new technologies coming forward that are meant to, in most cases, prevention. That's really what the target is.
Really what it boils down to.
It's knowing where your body is and what's going on in there so you can make adjustments to lifestyle to accommodate that and to remedy any abnormalities, I guess, and to catch things early. So
getting back to your testimonials, success leaves clues. That's the power of the testimonials. So
yes.
You talk about the extremes between the Harvard person, the person sitting in the corner with the little bottles of something.
Yeah.
Where are the results? Where's the feedback? And a lot of times these Harvard people are so busy at doing their little research stuff in the corner, and those people are just ending up on more and more pills, but they'll do more research on that. And if you're getting testimonials like this, those are the results you're after. So that can actually separate a lot of this misinformation just by the evidence.
And then and for many times, especially with extreme disease, when you're a long way down the path, the treatment is so horrendous that you're gonna die, and you're either going to die from the disease or you're going to die from the treatment. But there is almost no chance you're going to get cured. So then it kind of, to go back inside to yourself, it's like, so now from a lifestyle or a life quality of life thing, what choice do I want to make? And how do I want to live the last year? Do I want to be sick half the year and then, make it another 3 weeks? Maybe, not even guaranteed of that. Or do you want to just, do nothing and, die early? I don't know.
So I back to the overwhelmed, all of that. I just want to let you know that I'm here, right? I've done it. I'm here. You're in luck. You've got somebody that's going to support you. And I always say, what do you have to lose by having a free conversation with me to see if, I can answer your questions and to see if this is your the thing that will be what you need to support you and what it is that you want to accomplish, right? And I always say everybody can do something for 14 days. So what do you have to lose by doing this one time, 14 days, follow it to a T? And with all these testimonials, like you said, if you do the program like you're supposed to, you're going to feel something. Joint reduction, pain less, feeling less brain fog, more energy, like whatever it is. There's so many things that people have benefit from this. And so
the key, I think you said, was that you've done it.
Yes, right, because I have, yes.
If you're going to go to Indonesia,
yeah.
right, and you're going to take a travel agent with you, you don't want somebody who's from Kansas.
Right.
You want somebody who's been there a bunch or is from Indonesia.
Right.
So you've been there,
Yes.
you've done it, and
Yes.
you know how to lead people down the same roads that gave you that success.
Yes, absolutely right.
And the it's so easy to get going on it. That's the other part of it.
Right.
If you're listening to the show and you're thinking, well, maybe I'd like to check that out. So easy to do. Just go to ourhealthyhomes.com. At the top of the page of the website, you'll see 2 pink buttons. You can pick one of them. One of them is a 14-day reset. Pick that button. Or you can pick the Muffin Top Meltdown. Now, that's a slower plan. That's a long-term lifestyle change plan.
But we're still going to implement those things in the Muffin Top.
Absolutely.
Into the, yes.
But that's a longer view because you didn't get the Muffin Top in 14 days. You're not going to get rid of it in 14 days. Let's just be real. Like it took 20 years to get the belly. And it's going to take, some time to get rid of it again. But it goes off faster than it comes on.
Well, and there's reasons for that because your lifestyle and what you've been eating, and now you need to detox some of that crap that's out of there.
It's focus.
And and whatnot. I always like to say women are obsessed about losing pounds on the scale when they should be, they should care about losing the symptoms.
Yeah. Inches
and the inflammation.
Do your pants fit better? Can you bend over and put your shoes on without running out of breath?
I got to tell you, it was a strategic thing I did, but I was at the health club the other day and I was stretching, and I had my Tucker Carlson Ozempic interview playing loud as could be, and I had the stretch pad. So on the right of me was nobody. And on the left of me was this younger kid. Well, so then I put the phone on the left where the younger kid, because that's who I am, right? Like, come on, let's have a conversation, right? Bring it on. And so I'm stretching and I'm not, I'm just like, I'm listening to it. And he says, oh, I listened to a Tucker Carlson interview the other day. And I was like, great, right? I'm safe. I shut it off. And I had this conversation with him, and we talked about the toxic chemicals that everybody's using that's in their home and it's affecting their body and all these things. And I said, how old are you? And he said, 26. And I said, oh, and he worked at a law firm and, same views, everything. Now I'm laying there stretching, right? I don't know if I had any makeup on that day because I don't remember. And he said, can I ask how old you are? And I said, thank you. 128 days and I'm going to be 60. You should have seen his face. I mean, his face and his jaw just dropped and he couldn't believe it.
That's wonderful.
This is Our Healthy Homes,
can look good too.
ourhealthyhomes.com. You can make your home a healthy home, and it all starts with you, and it begins right now.
That's right.
See you next week.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. it does things to me. I tell him, honey, you can call